What's going on, everybody? I'm Aslan Hajavani, joined by lead writer of Warchant.com, the ultimate Seminoles sports source, Corey S. Clark. Use the promo code at the bottom of your screen to subscribe to Warchant.com so you can read Corey's column in full, or his story, rather, because that's how we roll.
Sorry.
Yeah, we're going to keep going. We're rolling. Bottom right corner of your screen is a subscribe button. Maybe subscribe to the YouTube page. That's free. We just aired. You know, you don't want to pay for that. It's okay. Also, hit the thumbs up button like this. Yeah. Corey, we're going to talk about quarterbacks. Apparently, we are now 116 days away from kickoff. I can't wait to read what you're writing about. What's going on, man?
You know, we're doing we do the spring exit interviews. Ira had done 3 of them, so I was up on deck, and he gave me the choice between tight ends and quarterbacks, and your boy took quarterbacks. Figured that would be a little easier to talk about, and it was, or write about, and it was. It's basically, what did we learn from the spring? How much is the position trending in the right direction? And what are some mysteries that still are in the position group? First and foremost, the position group itself, the QB room, is much, much better than it was this time a year ago. So no one could argue that. It's certainly trending upward. You have a guy with a bunch of wins. You have another dude that started. You have 4 guys in the room right now that have started at least one game. Last year you had 1. And that was James Blackman. So take that for what it's worth. So much better, much more experience, and I think just much better players. You have to assume that the 3 guys that return are all better. And then obviously you're getting an influx of a lot of things with McKenzie Milton. So with that said, yeah, I think the QB room is much better than it was last year. And I think, it's a legitimate, we've talked about this before, but I think it's a fascinating position battle. I think it's a 2-man race. I think we both do. Everyone does, really. But I think it's a legitimate race, and I think it's going to come down to the wire. And I don't think that's something that we necessarily thought whenever it was 5 months ago when McKenzie Milton transferred.
Yeah, well said. It's crazy, man. They only threw 10 touchdowns last year to 13 interceptions.
Yeah.
And the one guy everybody seems to love was part of some of that. But 50-50 on that, so that's pretty good. Yeah, that's crazy. So how did that come about, right? I mean, how surprised are you on a scale of 1 to 10, I guess, that we are sitting here May whatever, and McKenzie Milton's not the guy that we're talking about undoubtedly being the starting quarterback for Florida State? Is that a good thing?
I think it is a good thing. I think, look, competition is always good. I think Jordan Travis is truly in the mix for this job. I personally think that he's probably ahead at the moment. But we got a long way to go, all of August. But I do think that Jordan Travis, I thought, had a better spring. And Jordan Travis is a legit quarterback, man. He's a legit ACC caliber quarterback. He can do some things. I mean, you look at those numbers when he's healthy. The Jacksonville State game, you can say, okay, well, that was Jacksonville State. Well, Notre Dame, he threw for 200 yards and ran for 100. And then he was, I know he was 8 of 19 against North Carolina, but that was for 191. And he also ran for 100 yards in that game and had drops. And then the Duke game, he finished off really well as well. So he's had some moments, man. You look at there's some blue and green on there. And then Louisville and Pittsburgh, there's some grossness there too. So it's not like we're talking about Charlie Ward necessarily, but this is a guy that in his first year as a starter with a bad offense and not any playmakers. Once he had one playmaker the entire season. That was Tamarian Terry for 1 game, and that was it. So you hope that the receivers are better, the running backs are a year older and better. You hope, and I just think that he is legitimate competitor for this thing. I thought he played better than McKenzie Milton in the spring. I thought Milton was a little bit better in the spring game and seemed to come on as the game went on, or as the spring went on. But by no means, and this is what I write, by no means is this a slam dunk that McKenzie Milton is going to be the starting quarterback. He didn't come here to sit, but that doesn't mean he won't have to. He's got to win this job. Jordan Travis isn't going to give him this job. There's a real competition here.
Absolutely. And Corey's got a full write-up of it, warchant.com. I don't want to give the entire thing away. I'm sure we'll talk about it on that little podcast that we do as well. Corey, thanks.
And I wanted to say one thing though. The one mystery going in, and then we'll leave it at this, is that because people have heard a lot about the quarterbacks already, and you know what, folks, it's only May. You're going to be hearing this for another 4 months. I truly wonder about Chubba Purdy. That to me is the biggest mystery. That guy in the
you really are like, man. I mean, I was hyping him up all last year, man. This ship has sailed for me, man.
I thought he was impressive in the second half of the NC State game. Now they were down by multiple touchdowns, but I thought something clicked there. It is like, okay, I see what some of the fuss is about. He's an athletic kid, nice arm, started getting the ball out a lot quicker. I was like, okay, that's pretty impressive. And then again, we didn't see him for the next 6 months, essentially. And he wasn't even on campus for the spring game. So to me, just moving forward, I think it could be so beneficial for Chubba Purdy to get a year not really competing for the job, not being thrust into a starting role, but learning from McKenzie Milton, maybe learning from Jordan Travis, and then we do this all again next year with the Chubba versus Jordan debate for 2022. But I think Chubba Purdy, I'm really intrigued about what his future is at Florida State. As we talked about, it's not necessarily the best sign that my man wasn't even in Tallahassee for the spring game. That's not something that but I'm interested to see how this August goes. If he's on campus, when he's on campus, and then how much he commits to being a Florida State quarterback, because I think he has a real chance to be something, a legitimate college quarterback that could challenge Jordan Travis in 2022 for the starting role.
By the time you guys see this video, that's going to be 116 on your screen. He's Corey Amazon. Thanks for listening and watching. We'll talk to you all later. Stay connected to warchant.com, your ultimate Seminoles sports source.